Hello, everybody. I'm Gustavo, exam coach, and today we're doing a video in which we're studying how the TOEFL Integrated Speaking Task 3 works. Similarly to the Integrated Speaking Task 2, this type of question is part of the speaking section in the TOEFL. It consists of 3 parts. First, you need to read an academic passage. Then you'll listen to a lecture or discussion. And finally, you'll answer a question. Okay, so let's go over this. Let's begin. Okay, in the TOEFL Integrated Speaking Task 3, first you'll read an academic passage. This passage will be a text that you could find in an academic publication or textbook, right? Maybe the topic could be science, natural sciences, or perhaps the exact sciences, or perhaps literature, or the arts, or humanities. All right. Here we have an example of this. It is a passage about Isaac Asimov. Let's go over it together. It says, Isaac Asimov was an amazing author who wrote an astounding amount of material on an even more astounding variety of subjects. His literary studies included line-by-line analysis of all of the plays of Shakespeare. His historical research included works on the history of Greece, the Roman Empire, England, and France. He also wrote well-researched tomes on physics, chemistry, and astronomy. What he's most likely best known for today, however, is science fiction. His Foundation series on a galactic empire inspired by Gibbon's Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, and the I, Robot series about a future society where humans and robots coexist. In total, Asimov wrote more than 500 books on this wide variety of subjects. Very interesting indeed. Okay, you're supposed to have taken notes on the main topic and the main points supporting this topic. This is what we notice here, right? Here you need to focus on the topic. What's the topic here? Can you predict that? Okay, the passage is about Asimov. Asimov itself, right? He as a person, as an author. And what are the main points? Well, they mention something about his literary production. So we can sum up this in this little chart, right? The topic is the author Isaac Asimov. And the main points, number one, he wrote a huge amount of material, more than 500 books. And number two, he wrote on a wide variety of topics, including literary analysis, history, physics, etc. Right? The idea is that you can just jot down a few keywords that can help you remember, right? These ideas. No, don't try to transcribe all the information in the passage. It's impossible in 45 seconds. You'll barely have time to note down a few words. All right, what is next? Once you finish reading the passage, you'll right away go to listening to passage. It is not a conversation necessarily, right? Here in the speaking task 3, the most important is the nature of this audio that you'll listen to. It is normally a lecture, that is a talk about a professor or someone knowledgeable on some topic. And they will be disserting on the academic extract you just read. Another possibility is that it is not a lecture, but an academic discussion led by a professor or maybe a student. They could be, for example, a series of Q&A, right, after a class or a lecture, or it could be maybe a discussion between people preparing for an exam or some assignment, right? Yeah. In this case, we'll listen to a lecture. Let's see the example. Here, I'll read the transcript of a talk by a professor. Now, I'm sure you're all wondering how Asimov managed to write so much. Well, the simple answer is that he did almost nothing except write, because that's what he was driven to do. Asimov's normal routine was to spend time, a lot of time, writing every day. He usually got up at 6 o'clock in the morning. He was at work writing by 7:30 in the morning, and he wrote until 10 o'clock in the evening. That's a lot of time to spend writing. This desire to spend so much time writing prompted Asimov himself to say, "Writing is my only interest. Even speaking is an interruption." All right, so after you finish reading or listening to this talk, to this lecture, you're supposed to have taken some notes as well. Focus on identifying topic and main points. Let's see. Here, you can see that the topic of this talk, this lecture, is how Asimov managed to write so much. That's what the professor focuses his attention on. And what are two main points he mentioned in this lecture? Okay, the first one is that the schedule, right? He wrote, that is Asimov, from 7:30 in the morning to 10 p.m. And the second point is that he said, writing is my only interest. That is, he did nothing but writing. Yeah, very amazing indeed. Okay, so with these notes, plus the notes from the reading passage, you are ready for whatever comes. That is the question. Take a look. The question will always ask you to connect the information between the two passages. How does the information in the professor's lecture add to the information in the reading passage about Isaac Asimov? Notice the question reveals the relationship between the two texts. That is, this relationship is of complementing each other, right? This information in the lecture enhances the information you had in the reading passage. Sometimes this relationship could change. Sometimes the information in the lecture could oppose or be in contrast to the information in the passage, in the reading passage. Or sometimes it could just support the information in the reading passage. Take into account that these three possibilities are always there. And that's what you need to expect in the question for the speaking task 3. All right? How do you prepare to answer the question? Take a look. You need to do a little planning here. Okay, half a minute is not so long, okay, to sketch a plan. But the idea is you will be prepared if you have taken notes carefully for each of the passages, okay? You need to understand first, what is the relationship between the two as portrayed in the text of the question itself. And then use your notes to come up with a plan. Here, for example, if we put together the notes for the reading passage and the notes for the listening passage, what we need to focus now is on the logical relationship between the two passages. What was the reading passage all about? Basically speaking, it was about an author who wrote an amazing amount of material. Yeah, that's what the reading passage was about. You know, taking aside the fact that it was Isaac Asimov, it was essentially about some person, some amazing writer, because of how prolific he was. And what is the listening passage adding to that information about this amazingly prolific author? Okay, the listening passage focused on something very specific in relationship to the reading passage, how the author was able to do this. All right, so using these two ideas, you can start delivering your response by a statement that connects the two parts. Then you can summarize or highlight the points of the reading passage and then do the same for the listening passage. Take a look. Okay, in making the response, so first, your topic statement, you will just show the examiners, listening to your response thereafter. You will show that you understood, right, how these two passages were related to each other. And then highlight the key points to show that you have a good grasp of the details in this material. Don't forget to connect your sentences using transitions, right? So that the sentences are coherent to one another, and you have to show that your organization of ideas is good. Okay, what could be a sample response based on these ideas and principles? Let's take a look. In this set of materials, the reading passage discusses an author who wrote an amazing amount of material, and the listening passage explains how the author accomplished this. The reading passage explains that Asimov wrote a huge amount of material, more than 500 books in total. In addition, he wrote books on a wide variety of topics, such as literary analysis, history, physics, chemistry, astronomy, and science fiction. The listening passage explains how Asimov managed to accomplish all this work. Asimov wrote all day long, from 7:30 in the morning until 10 in the evening. Moreover, he was interested only in writing, saying, "Writing is my only interest." So this is a response that you can say in about 1 minute. Which is interesting about this is how the structure will allow you to obtain max points for the criteria of organization and answer to question, right? How orderly this information is arranged, right, in order to show that you have a good understanding of the two texts and how they are connected logically is a highlight in this response. Another thing is that by already basing these sentences on the ideas in your outline, in your plan, what you need to do is just put in words what you've already thought about. So you don't need to think, the ideas at the moment of speaking, because you've done that before, right? In the prep time you have to deliver your response. All you have to do, having your ideas clear, is to express these ideas into complete sentences using the appropriate transitions, right? And using what you know about how to assemble formal sentences in English, that is complex and compound sentences, right? It's very important also to use the correct words that connect ideas and clauses. All right, so this is it. This is how you can go over the integrated speaking task 3. In the playlist where this video will be found, you can have several practice questions so that you can put into practice all these ideas and suggestions. Okay? Have a good time practicing for the integrated speaking task 3. See you on the next video.